vav, vav, tav, vav. So I brought in vav because his name is encoded. And so I just saw it, the tav, vav, vav, tav, vav, vav. You had 3 vavs.
Yeah, that's probably why I've been on the hunt for the 3 vavs.
Yep. Of course. Looking at the scriptures to find it because you know the work.
You know what the witness is?
So I'm wrong.
What? What did you say?
The witness is mother and father, their teachings.
It is. But it kind of goes down a hole a little bit with that. I think the witness is mother and father, but it's associated to time. Time is the witness. In time, you're supposed to be overshadowed. A people. Where are you overshadowed? Between mother and father. That's Immanuel. You're standing as Immanuel in the earth. This is the second coming.
Yeah, well, we knew that. I mean, yeah, we were connecting. We already knew that this was the second coming of the Christ.
Right. Right. But I'm saying that
now you're saying that you found a scripture by
yeah,
breaking it down that actually proves that the second coming is the people group.
It's a returned people.
So the returned people again, 144,000.
So it ties them into that these are the witness. This is a witness and a testimony. It was right down to the people.
So the witness is released. The testimony is those who have become the message that the witness provided.
We're releasing the 2 witness message. Yes.
Right. And so through time, these teachings are witnessing the change of a people group that then would be the testimony to it.
The testimony and the witness is the warning that you need to be standing between mother and father.
That absolutely makes sense. Hence why we have 3.5 years to get our stuff together and do it.
This is where the Spirit led me. I was like, oh shit! And it was all I stumbled on Immanuel. And I was like, Immanuel, it's from people.
And which is interesting because that is directly related to Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah, it
because
is.
it's the tribesmen of Israel, Jacob's flock. Because I am just typing about.
Yeah. Well,
but that's why he wanted his seed.
Yes.
Blessed.
It does. Talks about in reference to a tribe and a people, especially Israel.
Yep.
So Israel is the witness, but Israel is not who Israel thinks. Israel is a people group that, because you know that roots down to what?
It's Ein Mem Mem.
Well, Ein Mem, folk.
Right. But the root, I thought you were asking root, because root is Ein Mem Mem, which is water singular.
Right, but there's some more. I stumbled because it was a morphology of an Ein Mem Yod Mem, right? So okay, that's been
Ein Mem Yod Mem. So to see the Mayim,
or to stand between as the vision of mother and father. You'll be the knowing. The knowing is standing between, because mother and father.
So you become that vision.
Mother and father have a vision for their children. The vision is that you would stand between them so you can participate in the vision. What is so a people?
Mm-hmm.
The next root of it is carrying it down to its primitive root is to be darkened.
Right.
How are you overshadowed?
Well, you said by mother and father.
By standing between them, you're in their shadow.
Yeah, because they overshadow you. That's the hidden place.
That's the hidden place.
That's the hidden place.
Right. So in between mother and father becoming the vision, and it morphs down to the vav, but that is, because I was kind of stumbled on, well, how does always go to be darkened, right? I was like, oh my goodness.
I've always been curious about that too, so.
Right. So that's why. Because you're standing in their vision, because their vision is for the intention that you become that vision. And so if you step out, you know you're not being overshadowed. You step into mother and father on both sides.
Then you are.
You're completely covered in what their intention is.
Oh my gosh. Guess what? I just connected a dot. Personally. Do you remember the dream I had? The vision, not the dream, the open vision I had?
Mm-hmm.
That one time when we were in church and the wind was rushing in my face and I jumped off that cliff because the Spirit said come. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that whole flying thing and I went up to space and I saw the planet being created. Remember that vision?
Mm-hmm.
Where did I wind up? What I called the throne room, because I didn't know what else to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that experience was I had two entities overshadowing me.
Mm.
And I was down like in a crouched position as they were totally covering me while I was up there. I was perfectly enclosed, and I was because it was too much. It was too much, but I didn't realize what it was until you just said it.
Yeah. So these are the people.
So that we would be a people that would have them overshadowing us. So it was like a prophetic declaration from like, gosh, I don't know, that was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. So you can see it in here that
wow.
That that from Immanuel. Immanuel, the overshadowed people. New file, of course, but because it's from, of course.
So how's it spelled? It's
Immanuel?
Yeah. Ayin
Mem Nun Vav Aleph Lamed. You have become the people of El. And it actually says these are the people.
So these are the people that are connected as the Aleph Lameds, as God, El.
Yes.
Wow.
Immanuel.
Oh
so,
my gosh. Of course it would be. So they were calling Yeshua, Immanuel, God is with us.
Right.
But he was trying to point out the way that we would become Immanuel as a people group.
Yes.
Hence the greater things, because we would all become it.
Yeah.
The strong leaders who are the teaching shepherds, which is exactly what he did.
Yes. Immanuel.
Oh my gosh.
It means it's with us. It's not with him. Oh, Immanuel, point to the cross. No. With us is mother and father. With us. Immanuel.
Right.
You have to personalize it, otherwise you always miss the Meta-ology part of it.
Right, right.
So with us is the potential to become, if we are the people that stand between the pieces, comprehending the vision of mother and father.
Right.
And then when you stand between the pieces, now you're fulfilling it to become the knowing, Ayin, Mem, Nun, Risen, Vav now. Through the Yod, you become the standing man as El.
Oh wait, okay, so it's Ayin, Mem, Nun, Vav, Aleph, Lamed?
Ayin, Mem, Nun.
Okay.
Vav.
So the very important piece on that is yes, it's a people group, but if you want to do that, you have to take the spiritual path. That's why the elevated noon.
That's why the elevated noon. Yeah, you have like, and this is what it is in here.
So they're the spiritual people walking that path that are still in flesh, but they are with us.
Right. So this is interesting.
In the flesh.
So Immanuel, it's from Im and El.
Yeah.
Im is with.
Right.
But what does it say? It says specifically equal with, between.
Of course it would be.
Okay.
Oh, no wonder why you made that comment when I came in, that you were literally in the middle and you were literally.
I'm literally.
Without literally and figuratively with the word.
So
okay.
now you're in the knowing place, right? And so then you go to darken, which is Ayin Mem Mem.
Right.
So you're sandwiched. You have the knowing of this now, because darken means you are completely darkened now, because you can't separate the two pieces now. You're completely darkened to be called white.
I know, right?
Right.
So, okay, so the Urim and the Thummim, right? Lights and perfection.
Yes, absolutely. It's what we were saying before.
The dark stone and the white stone is the overshadowing that darken you while you become white. Laban,
right.
The white stone.
It's the inculcation again. It's like everything is in the redundancies of what it is now.
Yeah.
So standing between the representation, because we know that the priestly garments are only representation.
Right.
And so their representation of mother and father for them would have been the white and the black stone. There they are between the pieces, knit as one in the purple robe of the priest, right?
So the only thing that they could do back then was have the external manifestation of something that needed to be done inwardly, but that it wasn't. They weren't given the ability to do what they needed to do to be able to become it, so they had to have a representation physically.
Right.
Right?
So, yeah,
so the priestly garments, the ephod, the stones.
Yeah, they missed the opportunity, so of course they get everything was a template and a type in shadow, pun intended, right? But yet they had to teach the people because the people didn't have the ability to comprehend.
So it was all teaching tools.
It was all teaching tools for, specifically now in the end, for people that would find this. It would be called Immanuel, and they would stand in the earth as a witness and a testimony through, because time is connected to the witness and the testimony.
Right, because time is et. It's ein tov. So you have the ability to see as a people group. It would be like I'm Immanuel et.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting.
So they would see the mark, and they would see all of this. They would be given the ein.
Right. Time is the ultimate. It's a witness. It is a witness.
Right.
But we're given time to find mother and father. So time is a witness to us that we would find the intention, the yod, the vision of becoming. So we would then, in time, we would witness time. We are the witnesses and the testimony of time, of what it produces.
The intention of it.
The intention of time is to produce the likeness of why time was first created. That's the whole concept. That goes right back to Tohu
and Bohu, right.
Because time in the template was saying, you need to walk this way. You already are mother and father, and again, you come into the experience. Therefore, the construct of time is created, and now time is now your witness that you will complete the process from beginning to end in the process of time, completing the intention. Mother and father now established. Now you've experienced what you already are.
Because you've remembered where you came from.
Because you remember where you came from, right.
Yeah.
So now because you already had the ayin, you already had the comprehension of knowing this, but going through the veil forgetting, right?
Yeah,
now we have the curse of forgetting, amnesia,
mm-hmm.
and so now we had to pick up those pieces. But that's all part of the experience. It's
Wow, the curse of amnesia?
Yeah.
That is why ego came in fear.
I can see it in Genesis. You see, ego came in, and it was one of the trees. And so it infected one of the trees because we didn't remember.
Right, but in the fact that you didn't remember, right, that would produce fear.
Yep.
That would absolutely produce fear. It actually gave room for it to manifest.
But how in the not, in the nothing,
right?
Because you have no fear because you know everything simply is a nothing in the same breath.
Yeah.
But how would you experience it to purge it, right? You would have to experience it because it would be a negative polemic, right? It would be a polemic to a positive.
Right.
So you have to, the only way you can be...
So the forgetting to the remembering.
Right.
Yeah,
so you'd have to go through the experience of, well, fear, what is this, right? And then through time again, time is a witness that removes fear.
If you take the spiritual path.
And this is all about if. Immanuel. This is all about if you so choose, then you will experience the purpose of why. It is not. It is nothing. Now you know why you are nothing and everything in one breath. Because you've now removed fear, therefore you are free of the curse. You are now the cure to the virus. Because you become a witness and a testimony in the earth. Now turn and face the world and tell them, warn them of this virus of fear. Because it will run rampant in the end days. But the answer to the cure will be stand between mother and father.
As those who are a testimony to their witness because you've become it.
Because you become it.
So then those that come okay, connecting to what you said again about the second coming of the Christ anointing, are going to be those people that do not fear in the latter days.
Absolutely.
Because they will become the intention and they will overstand it.
Yeah, they became filled up. Yes, absolutely. They became, again, everything's empty and void, right?
Right.
Because we already were full, so we got to be stripped of everything that we already know for the process of being filled back up through the Spirit's revelation of who
Right.
we really are. And
Right.
we know that if we're right standing, then if we're overshadowed, we have nothing to worry about. That's the difficulty of walking in the earth, is making sure that you're on the right path. But
Oh my goodness. This is also Psalm 91.
so
Right?
yes.
Because in there, you can see the added lamed, the teachers of light that come alongside the people. So that means that if people want to be able to have that attached to them, they need to have mother and father.
Yeah. The template is right there. We already know tabnith.
Yep.
Grasping it and comprehending tabnith, the pattern blueprint. But and I do find it interesting that strong 6006, right? 6 is on both sides.
Right.
But it's still part of. It's the exact same spelling as people, ayin mem mem, but now it morphs to it's amos. So now you have
With a semek or a sheen.
semek.
Oh my gosh.
So now you have ayin mem semek, and it means to carry a load. And the first occurrence is that, and each man loaded his donkey.
Wow.
And it's spelled with, there's 9 occurrences of it, and it's spelled with.
Of course there would be 9.
So this is a vav yod. So now you have the humility. So each man is to burden himself with, and it roots out.
Wait, so the vav yod, ein men semek, ein, ayin, mem semek, yod,
No.
vav?
No. In the first occurrence, it's vav,
Okay,
yod ayin,
okay,
mem semek.
okay. So connecting to the vision that Mother
The humble
gives you.
vision
Right,
of knowing will complete and surround you, right? So this is
as the married.
as the married. This is what you're to load your donkey with before you give it a steed. But
Because this is the burden.
so right, and it says to burden self and be born, right? So this is
So you literally found the word about to be born.
right.
The whole thing that we've been saying about being born again.
Yep. So this is how, and it's
Of
associated.
course.
So this is the weight and the balance that fills you up. Like remember, we're talking, if you're empty and everything is calibrated on ingredients of weights and measures.
Yeah,
And so this is a load. It's called a load.
okay.
It's a weight and a measure that would fill you up, because now you have, again, you've this is a completed word. You're now a moss. Like you're filled up. Right? It's a filled up word, or at least as much as you can in the earth.
Or the intention is that you would be filled up to that point.
Right.
Like, because the root, static potential, lump of clay, full of potential,
Right.
you got to do something with it.
Right. Now, and this is where I knew time was a witness, because 6006 is like I said, it's ayin mem semek,
Yeah.
which is tied to, like, so it's still connected to a people group that are overshadowed, right? So
Right,
this is
right,
really
right.
interesting. So carry the load now, and you can see in that language, like, these are people that burden themselves with the task, the daunting task of intention. But then you go to
Well, but then it also is a daunting task, because you have what is necessary to teach others to do it,
Mhm.
and the painstaking process of taking that to try to teach people who don't want to know it.
Right. So then you go to this word Ahmad, 6008.
To make one's stand.
And it roots out at people.
Yep.
So you're back to people now, and it's to overshadow now. So now
Right.
I've just reinforced that.
Right.
But what is Ahmad saying? It's a place in Asher, but it's spelled Ayin Mem Ayin Dalet.
Oh, it's not a mod ein mem dalet.
No.
That's why I said to take one stand, because that's what a mod
It is. It leads down to that. You
Okay.
Because to
But
take
this is ein mem ein dalet.
Ayin Dalet, and it says a people of time.
Whoa.
So this is what I can see, like, oh my goodness, these are people of time. They're journeying, burdening themselves in the process. They're the people of time.
So they see the mother and father, the mem, the living water, which then shows them the purpose of why they need to go through the inner door so that they can be delivered. Wow.
Now it's interesting, there's only one occurrence.
Oh my goodness.
One occurrence of this, and through, of course, through Meta-ology, is tethered to Amalek and Ahmad. So, Vav, here's Amalek, Vav, Aleph, Lamed, El, Melech, Mem, Lamed, Kaf. Right? So these.
Wait. Vav, El, Melech.
Vav, El, Melech.
So you're connected to, as God, the strong leaders, teaching shepherds that are now kings.
These are the people of time.
Of course. So this is the fulfillment of the Melchizedeks that come at the end. So this is actually connecting the second coming with the people group, like I'm just dot connecting here, with 144,000 that would be the kings and queens that have gone beyond the place of righteousness. They've actually become El.
Absolutely. And what does that root work? What does that people of time root out at? Again, folk, people, i.e. mem. So now it goes back down to
the tribesmen, the flock of Jacob.
These are the ones that they're overshadowed by becoming, they're dim, they're hid, right?
Yeah.
I'm shadowed by being between both mother and father. Okay?
You know what's so fascinating to that, Ken? The fact it's Ein Mem Mem, right? So Mem Mem by itself is a singular form of water. We never see it written that way, right? Because water attracts itself to itself.
Right.
Right? So the people group that we're talking about are those that attract themselves to become the Ma'im.
Right.
So again, it's like connecting of what the seed that was given to Jacob, that then his children would manifest.
Right.
And they would attract themselves to themselves. And that would make sense because we don't fit in the world.
So the Saman, this 6004 now, I gotta go back up here, 6006 and darking, yeah. So now,
this, going back to Immanuel.
Right, so not going back, so well, these ones, now it's leading to Wada, right? So now you have perpetuity. So now these people of time are connected.
Oh my gosh, they're connected to eternity.
To Ayin Dalet.
Yeah, right.
Right?
The bedecking and adorning.
And then what is perpetuity connected to? It's the Ayin Dalet Hey.
Right.
So now you're bedecked in the revelation. Now the Spirit is upon you.
Right. It's no longer outside of you. It's now, you've now connected. It is you.
Yep.
That, oh my gosh. So the bedecking and the adorning
is the Spirit. Yes, you've woven the intention of who you already are because it was pulled out of you and separated through the processing of time.
As your Ezer Kenegdo.
So you've woven her because the Spirit or the representation of that is exactly that. What she's showing you what it is that needs to be woven so it can be joined through the process of time. So you've woven already yourself in the likeness of the intention.
Oh my goodness, Ken.
So
the upper room.
So
Yeshua was teaching his disciples the Father's teaching.
Yes.
And so in the day that he told to wait for them, or for them to wait in the upper room, tongues of fire came upon their heads and they were filled. That totally makes sense. I mean, I haven't looked at the scriptures, but that makes sense, right? Because the tongues of fire are the codes being able to speak through mother and father because they've become fire. So the fire that comes out of their mouth
is the revelation of the Spirit.
Is the revelation. And so they've become it. they now have tongues of fire because their spirit now is one with them.
Spirit is light. It's now on them as the suffix of that revelation. Now you're adorned through.
Exactly.
You partner with perpetuity by entering the door.
Right.
What's inside the door? The hay.
The revelation.
The revelation. And so now
the revelation of the becoming.
So that's the difference between perpetuity and adornment. Is it's on the backside of this thing. After you're fully saturated in this revelation, you become the living revelation. Therefore, you're speaking the language of light,
which are the tongues of fire.
Which are the tongues of fire. So
that's why it says with the two witnesses that fire would come out of their mouths.
Yes. So now you're adorned in the knowing of the covenantal language, right? The covenantal door this is where the spirit of revelation dwells, and I can see it in here. And the first occurrence and second occurrence of this first occurrence is in Job, has the fierce lion passed over. That's adorned. So now, and it means passed. You've now entered in the door. So the lion. This is a Passover language, right? And then the second occurrence is still in Job too, but it's adorn yourself with eminence, majesty.
Wow.
So now you're bedecked and adorned with the Spirit now indwelling in you, speaking the language of light, for you have the revelation. Now, that word is 5710. 5710A, to pass on, advance. 5710B, adornment or deck oneself. So so now it's connected. So you're completely reinforced through the definition of this word.
But again, the perpetuity is us having the knowing that we are eternal beings. Because the illusion is that we're here in the parentheses of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that the life that we're living right now is just the only one we have. But in reality, once you have the knowing, you realize that you are an eternal being.
Absolutely, but that's the drips and the drops. That
exactly.
Like you go to a congregation and say, hey, guess what? You're God. Because they're here worshiping God, right? And they're like, oh, praise God, praise God. But all of a sudden, so you would blow people's heads apart and crush their hearts and everything else. But
well, then they would kick you out too and say that you're blasphemous.
But that would tell me that, and not arrogantly said, it's just like these are people of a shallow well.
Right.
Right?
They just haven't gone far enough down.
They don't have enough water or depth to comprehend really
Right.
the transactive language of what is to become.
But also it's not really much of their fault because we have these English scriptures that limit the seeing.
Fault is fault. That's a whole different topic. But we are the process of becoming. But it's interesting. So we're still talking about this bedecking of now adorned with ayin dalet hay.
Yeah.
So now we can follow that through. The exact same spelling, ayin dalet hay, means congregation now.
Right.
Family crowd.
Right.
Okay. So okay. So what does? So, because we're saying they're bedecked in this ayin dalet hay. What is the root of ayin dalet hay? Where does it stem from? It stems from ayin dalet. A witness.
Of course.
Not just a witness, so now you're a witness and a testimony.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then the first occurrence of this is Genesis 31:44. A covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between.
Right.
Okay?
What word does it, did you see what word it is? Is it brit or briti?
The covenant?
Yeah, or is it karat? Or is it karat briti? Because that would mean cutting a covenant. I just don't know if you can see it. I mean, I know that's only a little portion of it. I'm just curious as to what word it is for covenant.
I can only see the two words before you and I as a witness. It's Vav Aleph Tav He. Then Vav He Yod He.
Right, and that would make sense because it's what, right, exactly, Vav Haya.
Vav Haya.
Which means to come to pass and to become.
You become now the completed intention of the Vav. You are now connected.
You are now connected to the revelations of both teachers.
The completion of sovereignty. It would be
right. Vav, Wehaya.
The journey of humility is led to the fullness of meekness. So you now are a sovereign being of intention. You're the top.
That's interesting because it's Wehaya, right? Which is tetragrammaton, but the thing is, it equals 26 in gematria. Toroidal math. 8. New beginnings.
Right.
So I'm curious what verse that was, so I'm just curious to see what the covenant was, if it's Briti or Kara.
Okay, well hold on. Let me just finish this so before we get sidetracked, and I'll tell you what it is. But because a witness, as you well know, Ayin Dalet, still has, it's contracted from Ud, right? What is Ud? Admonish. Ayin.
Vav Dalet.
So now, it's macro-micro. You've admonished self, right? So, right. So you've been a witness, but then you become the witness. So therefore, the vav is going to move. The standard, the position is going to move, because you've admonished to record, and it's now you're to testify. Solemnly stand upright. From the very beginning, it's like to stand, right? So that's why I could see it going.
Stand, right.
Right. So now you're standing upright, testifying, giving warning.
Right.
How many occurrences of this are there? 44.
Well, of course it would be 44, 22, and 22.
Right.
So again, that goes back to the witness and the testimony.
So, I don't know if you followed this though, but now, so I got to bring this forward, because you have 5749, which means admonished, Ayin Vav Dalet, which is tied to a witness and a testimony.
Yes.
It's right in its own word, it is a testimony, and we just established that it's now a witness. 5749A, to return. 5749B, to bear witness. And it's rooted at 5713, Eda, Aleph Dalet Hey again, a testimony and a witness. So, it's like, this is returned. This is, I can see this.
So now you're linking this to the second coming.
Right, you've become through the Christ anointing. These are the revealed ones of Revelation.
Right.
They become a witness in the testimony through the process of time, as it has been a witness to them.
Right.
So now they are now turned and said, because of time, I have witnessed time and the purpose of time, therefore becoming the intention of time.
Hence why the Ark of the Covenant is also called the Ark of the Testimony.
Right.
Because you become the Ark.
You become the gold standard. So, in the first occurrence of that, the testimony, and this is what I'm really excited, I want to break this one down, but it's in Genesis 21:30. So that, and the word is, now it's got a lamed on the prefix, now you're lamed. Now you're lamed, Ayin, Dalet, Hey.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And it says, so, and it's like, that it may be a witness.
Right.
Lamed.
Right.
The teachers are the witness.
Right.
Right? To me. And it's because they've dug the well. The verse is directly into, and this is what the verse says, and I'll read this. It's just in English.
Right, but even in English, when you know the code, sometimes you can extract the hidden meaning because you know the words behind it.
Right. Saying solemnly, warned us, the man saying, not shall see my face unless your brother is with you.
Oh, so this is Moses talking.
Right. Right. This is in Genesis 43:3. But spoke. But again, there's a lot going on in here that you can say that solemnly, but the witness of time, this is the warning, saying to them, right, become the teachers. This is how you see the face and not the backside.
Right. So instead of being in the cleft of the rock, seeing the backside, you're now face to face. Panim el panim.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Panim el panim. It's the two messengers on top of the ark that are facing one another.
Right. And it's interesting that the last word, unless your brother is with you. So it's your brother. So, and the brother is Aleph Het Yod Kaf Mem.
Wow.
And then the last word is with you. Aleph Tav Kaufman.
Wow. So there we have the language, the Aleph Tav, the begotten ones that have grasped a hold of the waters above. So they're now out of chaos.
They're now out of the waters of chaos.
Wow.
And they're a witness and testimony. And they're teaching other people the flood is coming again. The flood is coming again. Be a witness if you need to be overshadowed. You want to be overshadowed? You want the language? Then this was a process of time. We were much distracted and.
Yeah. Right.
So, anyways, that's where I was today. So
wow.
That breaks down to the overshadowed Immanuel. These are them. These are the people of time.